Hello everyone, you are welcome to today's class. In this class, we continue our discussion on sequence and series. We've talked about AP and we also started GP. So today we want to look at sum of nth term of a GP. Sum of nth term of when you have GP and you want to add them together. And how do you go about it? It's possible you have 8, 4, 2, we have 16 here, and the question asks to find the sum of this GP, sum of the first 20 term of this GP. So instead of you adding them one by one, so we have formulas that we use to get this. How do you do that? That is what we want to discuss in this video. So we're going to be looking at two formulas. So the first one is the sum of n term of a GP is A into brackets R raised by n minus 1 divided by R minus 1. So this formula is when the value of R, this one is used when the common ratio is greater than 1. So when the common ratio, which means if you are given a question, you must first of all determine if that common ratio is more than 1 or less than 1. So if it is less than 1, so you are not going to use this one. You use another formula, and that is this one. So the second formula is this: sum of n term of a GP will be what? A into bracket 1 minus R raised by n divided by what? 1 minus what? R. So when what? R is less than what? 1. So that we not have negative. So 1 minus something that is less than 1 will be what? Positive. Is that clear? Where n here is what? Number of what? Number of terms. Number of what? Terms we are adding. So that is what we want to look at. We want to look at the same way, but we're going to make use of this formula and you make use of the other formula. So the most important aspect of this is for you to know when to use the first one and when to use the what? The second one, and which I have explained now. So if this is how you're going to know. R comes before what? 1. That means R is greater than 1. Then R is at the end of it, comes after 1. That means R is less than what? 1. So that's when to know when to use the formula. So let's now look at examples now. So we have this question. The first question says find the sum of the first 7 terms of a GP. So we have the GP here. So we want to find the first 7 terms, the sum of the first 7 terms. So that means the first thing you need to do before you can decide on which of the formulas to use is to find the common ratios. And common ratio R is found by dividing the second term by the first term, or the third term by the second term. That means we have 30 divided by 90, or must be equal to 10 divided by what? 30. So let's see, 0 cancel 0, 3 here 1, 3 here 3, 0 cancel 0, 1 over 3, 1 over 3. That means the common ratio is what? 1 over 3. So the question now is that is 1 over 3 greater than 1 or less than 1? So it is obvious that R here 1 over 3 is less than what? 1. So since R is less than 1, so we make use of this formula, this one. So that means sum of n term will then be A into bracket 1 minus R raised by n into what? 1 minus what? R, as we have it here. So we can now put in the values and start solving. Is that clear? So good. Sum to 7 now. Sum 7 will then be equals to A. What's the first term here? 90 into bracket 1 minus R. What is R? 1 over 3 raised by what? 7. Raised by 7. We close it, divided by 1 minus 1 all over what? 3. So we then solve for this. So we then solve for this. So how do we go about this now? So let's look at this. Let me clean this side for clarity. So from here we have 90 into bracket 1. So 1 minus 1 all over 3 raised power 7. So what we're going to do, instead of doing this, we do it straight. So 1 raised power 7 is 1 divided by 3 raised power 7. So check your 3 raised power 7. 3 raised power 7 gives 2,187. 2,187. You must have calculator, right? So divided by 1 minus 1 all over 3. So we're going to have this 90. So we have this again. Find the LCM of 1. This one means 1 all over 1. That is 2,187. So 1 in what this 2,087 is 2,000 times this one 2,187 minus this 2,000, this one divided by this one, that's 1. 1 times 1 is 1. We close it. Then this one, we find the LCM of this one as well, which is 3. That will be 3 minus what? 1. So we then have this 90 in brackets. Then this one will give us 2,186. When you subtract 1, divided by 2,187. Everything divided by 2 all over what? 3. Which we can write. So when you look at this one, so 2,187. Okay, so what we're going to do is this. So let's multiply this by this. So 90 times 2,186. So that gives, this one will give us 196,740 divided by this one 2,187 divided by this 2 raised over 3. How it means? So this will give us 196,740 divided by what? 2,187 times 3 over what? 2. So we can then check if 2 can go and 3 can go. So we can just divide. So that gives so 2 can go here and this one. So we can just cancel. 196,740 divided by 2. So that gives that. Then as we have 98,370. Then 2,187. 3 can divided by 3. That gives 729. So we have 98,370 divided by what? 729. So let's divide this and see what we're going to get. So 98,370 divided by 729. So that gives us 134. Let me write it here. That gives us 134.9382716. So which is approximately, we can write it to be what? So 135 or 134.94. 134.94, depending on what you're asked to write it to. I hope this is clear. I hope this working is clear to you. So if that is the case, so we need to look at another example. So just make sure that before you write out the formula, determine the radius, the common ratio, to know whether the common ratio is less than 1 or greater than 1. So let's look at another example before we move on. So the second question is this. In a GP, the sum of the third and the fourth terms is this. And the sum of the fourth and fifth term is this. Determine the common ratio, the first term, sum of the first terms. So let's start with interpretation. For the third term of a GP is AR raised by 2 plus the fourth term which is AR raised by what? 3. Third term, fourth term, and it equals to what? 60. Then the fourth term, which is AR raised by 3 plus the fifth term, which is AR raised by 4, will be what? Is what? Minus 240. This is equation 1, equation 2. So this, we did also simultaneous equation. So how are we going to solve this simultaneous equation? Is very simple. What we're going to do, we're going to factor out what is common to this and this, what's common to this and this before we move on. So let's do that. So we have A. So what is common? A is common. R square is common here. So A is common, which is A R square is common into, so what we'll have left is 1 plus R. So this will be equals to 60. Are you with me? Then the next one is what? A. So what is common is, what is the highest common factor here is A, right? R cube is common. R cube. Then what is left is what? 1 plus what? What is left here is what? R equals what? Minus 240. It's still this equation 1, it's still equation 2. So what we're going to do is, let's divide equation 2 by equation 1. Divide equation 2 by equation 1. So that means we're going to have AR cubed into 1 plus R divided by AR squared into what? 1 plus R equals to minus 240 divided by what? 60. So this will cancel this. A cancel A. So R squared, R cube minus this will remain R equals to what? So 0 cancels 0. 6 here 1, 6 here what? 4. That is minus 4. Therefore, R is what? Minus 4. That's the value of our first one. That is A. So we know the value of a common ratio, which is R. So the next is first term. So we now substitute R equals to minus 4 in any of the two equations. So let's say equation 1. So let's pick equation 1, which is this. So we have AR squared into what? 1 plus what? R equal to 60. So we can have R, which is what? Minus 4. Minus 4 squared into 1 plus what? Minus 4, right? Equals to what? 60. So this will give us minus 4 squared is what? 16A, right? Into this 1 minus 4, 60, right? So this one will give us what? That is minus 3 times 16A equal to what? 60. So let's just divide both sides by minus 3 times 16. That's minus 3 times 16A divided by minus 3 times 16 equals to 60 divided by minus 3 times 16. So this cancel this cancel this. We have A left here. So 3 here 1, 3 here 20. Abi? So that is 20. So then 4 can go here 5, 4 can go here 4. So we have minus 5 all over 4. That's the value of the first term. The value of the first term is minus 5 over 4. Is that clear? So that is the value of our A, which we can as well as minus 1 whole number 1 all over 4. Is that? So the next one is to find the sum of the first 6 terms. Now before we write out the formula, what is the value of our R? Minus 4. Is it less than or greater than 1? This is less than 1. So we make use of the second formula. We are finding the sum of the first 6 terms. So that is S6. We then make use of Sn first. That will be A into bracket, since that will be 1 minus R raised by n, because R is less than 1, divided by 1 minus what? R. So in this case, S6, sum of 6 terms will be what? A. What's value of our A? Minus 5 all over 4 into brackets 1 minus R, which is minus 4, raised power n, that will be 6. Close it. Divided by, this is C part, divided by 1 minus r, which is what? Minus 4. So we can then have this. We then solve, that's minus 4 over 5, over 5 over 4 into, then find this one. This will be 1 over 1 minus, so 4 raised power minus 4 raised power 6 will give us, will be positive. So 4 raised power 6, 4 raised power 6 gives us 4,000, and this is just 1 minus 4,096. So everything divided by 1 plus 4. So this, we subtract this one will give us minus 4,095, right? So this will give us minus 5 over 4, then times minus 4,095. Everything divided by 5. 1 plus 4 gives us 5. So what we're going to do here is this. So since this one is minus times minus give us plus. So 5 times this, that will be 5 times 4,095 divided by 4 divided by 5. So which we can change to be, which we can change this one to become 5 times 4,095 divided by 4. So we change this division to times, that will be times 1 over 5. 5 cancel 5. So we then have 4,095 divided by 4. So when we divide this, what we have? Divided by 4. So we then have 1,023.75. So that is the sum of the first 6 terms of the GP. I hope this is very clear. So that is that on the sum of nth term of a GP. So we're now going to look at sum of a GP to infinity. So that's the next stage. That is sum of a GP to infinity. So that is when you ask to find sum of a GP to infinity, so you have to make use of this formula. Sum to infinity, this symbol means infinity, is what? A into divided by what? 1 minus r. 1 minus r. So for the part that this r given, provided that minus 1 less than r and r is less than what? 1. So minus 1 is less than, that is r must not be equal to minus 1, right? Because if it is equal to minus 1, this will then turn to 0. This will turn to 0, provided that minus 1 is less than r. Are you with me? Minus 1 is less than r. Because if you have this one to be 1 minus 1, that gives us 0. So it will affect our answer here. So this is what we call sum to infinity. So we now look at examples on this. Let's look at examples. Example 1. So find the sum to infinity of a GP. So this is the GP. So this is the first term, second term, third term, fourth term, and so on and so forth. So we now want to find sum to infinity. So the first thing we need to do is to calculate the radius, to calculate the common ratio. So in that case, solution here now. Solution. So we find the common ratio. R will be the second term divided by the first term, which is 16, and that gives us 1 over what? Over 2. So which is less than, you can see r less than 1, and r is not equal to minus 1. So in that case, to apply this sum to infinity will then be equals to the first term, which is 16, divided by 1 minus r, that is half. That means we have 16 divided by 1 minus half is half, which is 16 divided by half. So that is 16 times 2 over 1, that is what? 32. So sum to infinity of this GP is what? 32. I hope this is very clear. So we look at one more example and see how we can use this to solve problems. Second example, given that the sum to infinity of a GP is 10. If the first term of the series is given as 5, determine the common ratio and the third term. Now, so that means sum to infinity, solution now. Sum to infinity is given as 10. What is the formula? That is A divided by 1 minus what? R equals what? 10. Now, if the first term is what? 5. That means 5 divided by 1 minus R equals what? 10. So when you multiply both sides by 1 minus R, that means we're going to have 5 equals 10 multiplied by 1 minus R. That means 5 equals what? 10 minus 10R. So we can collect like time. That is 10R. It will come and become what? 10R equals to 10 minus 5. That is 10R equals to what? 5. Divide both sides by 10. Therefore, R equals what? 1 over 2. So the first term, the common ratio here is what? Is 1 over 2. Then find the third term. So third term of a GP is AR squared. We've known the value of A to be 5. That will be 5 times R squared. 1 all over 2 squared. That is 5 times 1 all over 4, which is what? 5 all over 4. That is one whole number, 1 all over what? 4. So that is that on sum of a GP to infinity, and this ends the topic we have started, which is sequence and series. So that's everything you need to know on sequence and series about being discussed. So just go through the videos again. Perfection. So this is what we're going to stop today. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe and make sure you turn on your notification bell, so that anytime I release video like this, you're able to get access and get notification of it on time. And don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you find this video useful. If there any problem, you can always put it down in the comment section. Then share the video with your loved ones so that they can benefit from it. So we'll meet in our next video. Bye for now. Thank you.